You want me to change my name? I asked, disbelief and anger rising in my chest. For what? A job? A family? A lie? Richard looked at me with a cold, calculating gaze. It's not just a job, Luna. It's an opportunity, and it's not just a name. It's an image. He leaned forward, his voice low and menacing. And you'd better take it. Or else, my name is Luna. A name as unique and mysterious as the celestial body it's named after. Growing up, it felt like a crown of individuality, setting me apart in a sea of conventional names. It wasn't just a collection of letters for me. It was a symbol of my parents' creativity and a testament to my uniqueness. My life, so far, had been a harmonious blend of personal and professional successes, much like the quiet glow of the moon on a clear night. In my early 20s, I found myself deeply in love with Alex, a man whose kindness knew no bounds. We met in college, a pair of dreamers charting our course through life's uncertainties. Our marriage was a natural progression, two souls intertwined by shared dreams and mutual respect. Alex's parents, Richard and Elaine, were the epitome of traditional values. Richard, a self-made businessman, had a demeanor that commanded respect, and Elaine, with her gentle poise, complimented him perfectly. They welcomed me into their family, though I always sensed a flicker of reservation in their eyes each time they said my name. "Ah, Luna," Elaine had said during our first meeting, her voice laced with a polite curiosity. "That's quite a unique name." I smiled, used to the reaction. "Yes, it is. My parents love the night sky," I replied, hoping to convey the love embedded in those 4 letters. Richard had nodded, a hint of something unreadable in his gaze. "Unique indeed," he had echoed, his voice neutral but not unkind. Our relationship, if not warm, was cordial. We navigated through family gatherings, holidays, and the occasional Sunday brunches with a polite understanding. There was always a sense of decorum, a line of respect that wasn't crossed. But beneath this facade of normalcy, a storm was brewing, a test of loyalties and beliefs that would challenge the very core of my identity. It was a storm that began with a seemingly innocuous offer, one that would force me to stand at a crossroads between my sense of self and the allure of familial acceptance. The turning point came unexpectedly on a mild spring evening. Richard had invited Alex and me for dinner at their home, a sprawling estate that spoke volumes of his success. As we dined under the soft glow of the chandelier, conversation flowed from mundane family updates to business affairs. It was then that Richard, his eyes reflecting a shrewd business acumen, turned to me. "Luna, I've been observing your career in digital marketing. You have a remarkable talent, and I believe you could bring a fresh perspective to our company," he said, his voice a mix of admiration and calculated interest. I was taken aback. Joining Richard's company, a pillar of the community known for its conservative approach, had never crossed my mind. "Thank you, Richard. That's quite an offer," I replied, trying to mask my surprise. "Yes, it is," he continued, leaning forward. "I'm serious about this, Luna. Your innovative ideas could be just what we need to modernize our brand." The offer was undeniably appealing. It wasn't just a job opportunity. It was a chance to become part of the family's legacy, to contribute to something that Alex was so proudly a part of. Yet something held me back, a nagging feeling that there was more to this than just business. As if reading my thoughts, Richard added, "There is, however, one small matter. Your name, Luna, it's a bit unconventional for our corporate image. For you to take a prominent role in the company, we'd need to present you in a more professional light." I felt a chill run down my spine. "Are you asking me to change my name?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Richard nodded, his expression unapologetic. "Yes, I believe a more traditional name would be better suited for the business environment. It's a small change, but it's essential for the company's image." The room spun around me as his words sank in. My name, the essence of my identity, reduced to a mere branding obstacle. I looked at Alex, searching for support. He seemed as stunned as I was, his eyes wide with disbelief. I need to think about this," I stammered, excusing myself from the table. The night air felt heavy as I stepped outside, the stars above mocking me with their unchanging brilliance. The days following Richard's proposition felt like walking through a fog of disbelief. How could I, Luna, a name chosen with love and imbued with meaning, consider casting it aside for a corporate image? It was more than just a name. It was a testament to who I was, a symbol of my parents' hopes and my unique path in life. I found myself sitting across from Richard a few days later, in his meticulously organized office, the air heavy with the scent of aged wood and success. Alex was beside me, his presence a silent source of strength. "Richard, I've given your offer a lot of thought," I began, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "I'm grateful for the opportunity to be part of the company. However, I cannot and will not change my name. It's an integral part of my identity." Richard's expression hardened, the lines on his face deepening. "Luna, this is a small compromise for a significant opportunity. It's a business decision, nothing personal." "It's deeply personal to me," I countered, feeling a surge of defiance. "My name is not a compromise. It's who I am." Alex interjected, his voice firm. "Dad, you can't ask Luna to change her name. It's an unreasonable condition." Richard sighed, a trace of frustration in his eyes. "I thought you'd be more understanding of the business world's needs. It's not just about you, it's about the company's image." The conversation ended with a tangible tension. As Alex and I left his office, the finality of my decision hung in the air, heavy and unyielding. I had stood up for my identity, but at what cost? That evening, Elaine called, her voice a blend of concern and diplomacy. "Luna, dear, are you sure you won't reconsider? Richard means well, and it's a fantastic opportunity." "Elaine, I respect Richard and what he's built, but I can't lose myself in the process. My name is not up for negotiation," I replied, my resolve unwavering. The call ended with a polite goodbye, but the unspoken disappointment was clear. The decision had been made, lines had been drawn, and the once cordial relationship with my in-laws now stood on a fragile edge. In the weeks that followed, the atmosphere at family gatherings changed. What was once a space filled with casual laughter and easy conversations now felt strained, as if each word and gesture were measured and weighed for its impact. Richard and Elaine, while always polite, had a coolness in their demeanor that was hard to ignore. Dinner conversations were now a careful dance around safe topics, avoiding the unspoken tension that lingered like a shadow. Alex tried to bridge the growing divide, his efforts a testament to his love for both his family and me. Yet, the strain was evident in the furrow of his brow, the way his laughter didn't quite reach his eyes. One Sunday afternoon, as we gathered in their lush backyard, Elaine approached me, her voice soft, her words chosen with care. "Luna, I know you feel strongly about your name, but sometimes we have to make sacrifices for the greater good. It's not just about you, it's about what's best for the family." Her words, though spoken with a maternal gentleness, stung. "Elaine, I understand your perspective, but my name is a part of who I am. It's not a whimsical choice, it's my identity," I replied, my voice calm but firm. She sighed, a look of maternal concern in her eyes. "I just hate to see this causing a rift in the family. You're important to us, Luna." The conversation ended with a polite smile, but the divide was palpable. As the evening wore on, the laughter and chatter around me felt distant, a reminder of what was lost in the pursuit of staying true to myself. Alex and I left early that night, the car ride home filled with a heavy silence. He reached over, squeezing my hand, a wordless gesture of solidarity. It was in that quiet moment, under the soft glow of the streetlights, that I realized the true cost of my decision. As the days turned into weeks, the unspoken battles within the family grew more pronounced. Richard and Elaine's demeanor towards me was cordial, yet there was a perceptible distance, a barrier built not of words but of unmet expectations and unspoken disapproval. Family gatherings became a balancing act. Conversations were polite, yet they lacked the warmth and intimacy that once made these occasions special. I could sense the unasked questions and lingering judgments in their cautious smiles and measured greetings. Alex, caught in the middle of this silent storm, was a pillar of support. He understood the unspoken dynamics, the delicate balance between respecting his parents and standing by his wife. His efforts to ease the tension were commendable, but the gap that had formed was not easily bridged. One evening, during a particularly tense dinner, Richard made an offhand remark about the importance of tradition and legacy in business. It wasn't directed at me, but the underlying message was clear. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach, a mix of frustration and resolve. Alex, sensing the tension, quickly changed the topic, his voice a little too cheerful. "Dad, "How's the new product line coming along?" he asked, steering the conversation to safer waters. The evening ended with polite goodbyes, but the emotional distance was more pronounced than ever. As Alex and I drove home, the silence in the car was a stark contrast to the unspoken words that hung between us. That night, lying in bed, I found myself reflecting on the situation. I had stood my ground, true to my beliefs, but at what cost? The family I had hoped to be a part of now felt like a distant mirage, a connection strained by the weight of unmet expectations and silent judgments. Yet, amidst the turmoil, there was a sense of strength, a deep-seated knowledge that compromising on one's identity was too high a price to pay, even for the sake of familial harmony. As the months passed, the strained relationship with Richard and Elaine remained unchanged, a constant undercurrent in our interactions. However, life has a way of bringing unexpected twists. It was during an unremarkable Tuesday morning when I received a call from Alex. His voice was a mix of surprise and urgency. "Luna, you won't believe this. Dad's company is facing a major PR crisis. Something about their latest advertising campaign being out of touch with today's values." I sat up, alert. Richard's company had always prided itself on its traditional approach, but in a rapidly changing world, what was traditional could quickly become outdated. Alex continued, "They're struggling to connect with the younger audience. It's a mess, and Dad's at his wit's end." A thought began to take shape in my mind, a daring idea that was both a risk and an opportunity. "Alex, I think I can help," I said slowly, the gears in my mind turning. "But it has to be on my terms." That evening, I found myself sitting across from Richard in his office, the tension of past conversations hanging in the air. "Richard, your company needs a new perspective, one that understands the values and voices of today's generation. I can offer that perspective, but I do it as Luna, not as someone else." Richard looked at me, his expression a mixture of desperation and skepticism. "You think you can turn this around?" he asked, his voice tinged with a hint of doubt. "I know I can," I replied confidently, "but I do it my way, with my name, my identity." The decision was made. Over the next few weeks, I worked closely with the company's marketing team, infusing new ideas and strategies that resonated with a broader, more diverse audience. The campaign was a bold departure from their usual approach, but it struck a chord, turning the tide in favor of the company. Richard watched in amazement as the public perception shifted. The company that was once criticized for being out of touch was now praised for its progressive and inclusive approach. In a quiet moment, after the success of the campaign, Richard approached me. "Luna, I was wrong," he admitted, a rare vulnerability in his voice. "Your name, your identity, it's what gave you the insight we needed. I'm sorry for not seeing it earlier." The apology was a balm to the wounds of the past months. It didn't erase the hurt, but it was a start, a step towards mending the frayed threads of our family ties. The success of the new marketing campaign marked a turning point in my relationship with Richard and Elaine. The rigid boundaries that once defined our interactions began to soften, replaced by a growing sense of mutual respect. One Sunday afternoon, as we gathered for a family lunch, the atmosphere was noticeably lighter. Richard, who had once viewed me through the lens of skepticism, now engaged in conversations with a newfound openness. During a quiet moment, Elaine pulled me aside. Her eyes, usually so composed, held a warmth that had been absent for so long. "Luna, I want to apologize," she began, her voice laced with sincerity. "We were wrong to ask you to change who you are. You've shown us that there's strength in being true to oneself." Her words, simple yet heartfelt, touched a deep chord within me. "Thank you, Elaine," I replied, feeling a sense of closure. It means a lot to hear that. The rest of the day passed with a gentle ease, a harmony that had been missing in our gatherings. Laughter flowed freely, and conversations were imbued with a genuine interest and warmth. As Alex and I drove home that evening, he reached for my hand, a smile playing on his lips. "Looks like you've won them over, Luna," he said, his eyes shining with pride. "I guess I have," I replied, feeling a sense of accomplishment. But more importantly, I stayed true to myself, and that made all the difference. The journey had been challenging, filled with moments of doubt and conflict. Yet it had led to a deeper understanding and acceptance, not just within the family, but within myself. Standing up for my identity had not only brought resolution to the family tensions, but had also reaffirmed my belief in the importance of being true to oneself. The resolution with Richard and Elaine was more than just a reconciliation. It was the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. The experience had not only changed my relationship with my in-laws, but also brought about a profound personal transformation. Emboldened by the success of the campaign and the newfound respect from Richard and Elaine, I began to advocate more openly for diversity and individuality in professional spaces. My experience had taught me the value of authenticity, and I was determined to share this insight with others. I started by conducting workshops and seminars, using my story as a case study to illustrate the importance of embracing uniqueness in the business world. The response was overwhelming. People from various industries reached out, sharing their own stories of struggling to fit into corporate molds that didn't reflect their true selves. Meanwhile, at Richard's company, the changes were palpable. The staff, once hesitant to express their individuality, now felt encouraged to bring their whole selves to work. The office became a vibrant tapestry of diverse personalities and ideas, each contributing to a richer, more inclusive culture. Alex and I, through these changes, grew closer than ever. He was my steadfast partner, always encouraging, always believing in the value of what I stood for. Our love, which had weathered the storm of family tensions, emerged stronger, rooted in mutual respect and understanding. As I sat at my desk one evening, reflecting on the journey, I realized how much I had grown. The challenges had not only strengthened my resolve, but had also opened up new paths, opportunities to make a difference in ways I had never imagined. The phone rang, snapping me out of my reverie. It was Elaine, inviting us over for dinner. Her voice, once a source of polite formality, now carried a genuine warmth. I smiled, accepting the invitation. Hanging up, I looked out the window at the night sky, the stars twinkling like distant beacons of hope. My name, Luna, once a point of contention, was now a symbol of my journey, a journey of standing up for who I am and inspiring others to do the same. In the quiet of the night, I realized that this was just the beginning. There were more stories to tell, more barriers to break, and more paths to forge. And I, Luna, was ready for whatever lay ahead.